All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AppSpokes Spring Showcase live demo by the AppFusions team. My name is Hanley Cameron. I'm a solutions architect with AppFusions. On behalf of our team, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Today's webinar is being recorded. We'll share the recording with you and on our YouTube channel after the webinar. First, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, AppFusions Senior Developer and Architect, David Simpson. David's going to take us through IBM Connections integrations today for SharePoint Online with Office 365, GitHub, WordPress, and Wrike. At the end of the live demo, we'll have a brief Q&A, so if you have any questions during the demo, feel free to post them in the questions panel and we'll queue them up for him at the end. So let's get going. First, I'll tell you a little bit about AppFusions. AppFusions is an IBM business partner, and we've been focused on packaged integrations for IBM Connections for the past 5 years. By seamlessly integrating your apps and data inside of IBM Connections, your team can collaborate with more context in their communities faster and better. No more digital silos. Work together in a collaboration hub. Our solutions take minutes to set up in the cloud and just a few hours for on-premises. The user interfaces and experience are intuitive, and they just work. As we mentioned, our replays are available on YouTube and our channel, which you can see here. Last week we had a great demo you should go check out for OneDrive, Office 365, Salesforce, Zendesk, Confluence, and Jira. There was some good stuff there, so go back and take a look at that one. And with that, David, are you ready?
Hi, Hanley. Yes. Hanley, can you see my screen?
Yeah, you are good to go.
Excellent. So, as Hanley said, I'm going to show a demonstration of integrations between IBM Connections and SharePoint Online, GitHub, WordPress, and Wrike. We're going to start off by going through SharePoint Online. So, with SharePoint Online, I have 3 integrations to demonstrate to you. The first one is SharePoint Online file lists. So for this gives you the ability to see all the files that you have stored within your SharePoint site and browse around them just as though you're within your SharePoint site. So, for example, we can do browsing, we can share things. So here, for example, I'm sharing a file, and if I click on this I now have the ability to share this, paste this into an email or an instant message, and that will give the person that I send it to access to that file. If we go back here now, that says shared. So some of the other things that we can do here, for example, I can open a file from within IBM Connections and we can view it, or we can natively edit it within Office 365 we can edit it within Office 365 or natively within an Office app. So this example here, I'm going to go in and view this file here, and this is opening it and opening the viewer here, and here we have the viewer. Now we can also edit it either within my native Word application or within the browser. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up within Word and give it a little bit of an edit. I'm actually going to just turn that into an ampersand and then save that back. Now when I save that back, you can see it says uploading to SharePoint. It says where it's going to, and that is now saved back to SharePoint. So if I now refresh this, it will say that it's just updated a few seconds ago. So that's editing and viewing a file. We can do other things. We can, for example, upload files using this simple drag and drop interface. So I'm actually going to put these images into my team photos, and we can still browse while this is going on. So I can browse around here, or we can, it's uploaded now. So we can go back and we can have a look in the team photos. We can see that these are now uploaded into here. So that is the SharePoint Online file list. Now, before I continue with another one, I'll just notice over here we have another instance of the SharePoint Online file list here. Now this is pointed at a different directory. So over here we have Project Hummingbird, and that one's pointed at Project Hummingbird, but for different instances we might want to show different things. So I'm going to actually set Project X as my root directory here. Now when I come back to this, Project X will be the root directory here, Project Hummingbird will be the root directory over there. So it gives us a little bit more of a capability there. Next, I would like to speak about SharePoint Online File Search. Now, this gives us the ability to search within those files that I just demonstrated there. So if we do a quick search, we're going to search for AppFusions. We can see a whole bunch of files that have come back here, AppFusions at a glance, for example, and we can do all those rich things that I demonstrated previously, like open, share, view and edit. We can even do things like rename and delete, and that's from within this, the same within this online file search application. So that's our second one. Our third integration with SharePoint Online is SharePoint Online Lists. So SharePoint gives you the ability to create a whole bunch of lists. This application, this integration here, gives you the ability to surface those SharePoint lists that you've been so carefully created within SharePoint and put them within IBM connections. Okay, so that's the SharePoint Online integration. Next we're moving over to the GitHub integration. Now GitHub is a code repository for developers, and it also allows you to do things like create issues on features of that code. So we have three integrations here that I'd like to show you. First one is GitHub Images, and here we can see the state, so we can filter by open, close, or all of them. I'm going to show all of them. I'm just going to get rid of that bug. So we can see all of them. I can filter that only to open ones. And you can see that it reduces down, and we can show only bugs, and that shows this one here. Now, if I click on this here, it actually goes into GitHub and shows you what's happening, shows you that particular issue for that particular repository. So that is GitHub Issues. The next integration is GitHub Stats. So here in GitHub Stats, we can actually see the number of commits that this team has been doing for this particular project. So here we have a repository. I'm going to open it up and we can have a look at the repository here. So we can see here's the code. It's not got any issues, not got any pull requests, but we can see and demonstrate that there has been some commits in January, another bunch of commits in February, and another bunch of commits in March. Over here on the Code Frequency tab, we can actually see the number of additional lines of code that have been added to the repository and the ones that have been deleted. And we can see that over time as well. So that's GitHub Stats. Down here we have GitHub Commits. And this shows whenever a developer commits a line of commits to GitHub, we get a commit message here. We can see the author here and the message, and if we click here, we can see the commit. So this shows you what has changed and when this developer pushed this change to GitHub, and we can see that this is fixing a typo here. We can click through and we can see further within GitHub just here, and this is the same thing viewed within GitHub slightly differently, and then we can go back. So there we are. This is our GitHub integrations: GitHub Commits, GitHub Stats, and GitHub Issues. Next we have WordPress. Now WordPress is a very, very popular blogging platform used by a lot of enterprises. It's also used by a variety of websites on the public web and behind the firewall. So here we're showing we have a WordPress posts and a WordPress comments. Now this has been this title has been edited, so it says TED Posts. So this is posts from the TED Ideas blog, and we can scroll through here, view different posts. We can click through here and view that particular blog over here. Because there's quite a lot of content, we've got this here within a little window here, and then we can go through and have a look and go to the next ones. So that's posts. Now, a very important part of blogging is receiving comments back, of course. So over here we have the comments for the blogs. Down further here we have a separate instance of the same two app integrations. We've got TechCrunch posts and comments for that. So this gives you the ability to put a whole bunch of different blogs and put their content within IBM Connections. So that's WordPress posts and WordPress comments. And finally, we're going to move over to Wrike. Now, Wrike is a project management platform for following projects and issuing tasks. We're going to look at Wrike search. Now, first of all, I'm going to put a search. I'm going to put star search. This actually searches for everything. This is everything that I currently have in my little Wrike installation. But I can filter this out. Perhaps I want to see what's active. And I don't know what's been updated in the last week. So that limits that to what's been updated in the last week. And yeah, I want to see high importance things. So this is limiting it down to just this one. If I click on there, I can see further details. I can see the content of that task, and I can actually put comments in here. So I can do commenting. I can do commenting within IBM Connections, and that posts it back to Wrike, and I can do this commenting within IBM Connections and not slip out of context. So that's Wrike search. Now, Wrike list is a simple list of Wrike tasks, but based on a criteria that we've already configured. So let's have a look at that criteria. We can go in and configure this, and you can see the way that I've configured this. I'm searching for anything, but I want it status of active, and I want things that have only been updated within the last week, and restrict it to 10 results. So that gives me this list of 4 items here, and just like in the Wrike search here, I can click on the task, I can view the content of that, I can comment, I can perform workflow from within IBM Connections without stepping outside, without switching context, and continue my work in IBM Connections. So that's pretty much wraps up the demonstration. One more thing that I want to say is that our integrations with these third-party systems or have integrations with IBM Connections activity streams. So files that you update in an external system, say like Box or SharePoint, when you update that, you can get that posted through to your activity stream within IBM Connections. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and that's the end of the demo. Over to Handley.
All right, thank you, David. That was really awesome. Thank you so much. Now we'll move into the QA. We've had a few questions come in, and if you have any additional ones, please post them in the tool. The first one, David, is what file types do you support in SharePoint Online, and can I view the different files inside of IBM Connections? I saw Word, but what about others?
So for viewing and editing, we support all the viewing and editing that Office 365 supports. So that'll be things like all the Office apps. So we can view and edit all the Office apps, be it Excel, Word, PowerPoint. I'm missing some others. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And a related one says if I view a file and it's too big for the side panel, like you showed that list on the right-hand side, how does that work when they view that file? So viewing the file on the side panel, you mean like down here, right?
Right. If I click on that file, what do I? Is it in the side panel?
So the way that this actually works here, let me just show you. I'm not going to click on that one, but we go over here. The way that this works is it actually pops it up into a new window for viewing of these, and the reason for that is it's so that we can then go in and do this editing in browser and have a big screen to go in and do that with.
Okay, great. I think the last one I've got so far on SharePoint, how do the permissions work between SharePoints and connections? Am I seeing all the files in SharePoint? How does that work?
Right, okay, so the thing is with this is, in IBM Connections, you're only allowed to see what you're allowed to see within SharePoint. So we respect the SharePoint permissions, right? So if you can't see a folder within SharePoint, there's no way that we're going to expose that within IBM Connection. And if anyone would like to learn more about this, we can talk to security teams. We can show you how we've done that with OAuth 2. Okay.
Great. And just a couple more. In the WordPress demo, I think it applies to all of these. You mentioned changing the community app title, the widget title.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Sure. So that's pretty straightforward. In fact, I can do this here. In fact, so if I go in there, it says change title. I'm just going to put project Hummingbird because can't spell it right, but never mind. So we just save that there, and then that app title changes straight away.
Right. As a community manager, that gives me a lot of control over how I want that to lay out and look, for my end users. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Another question that may actually be for Ellen, who's on the line, says you can add all these community apps, but how would these really work in real-world use cases?
Okay, yeah, I'm here. Hi, hello. Great demo, David, thanks so much. So in the real world, we don't envision that you'd have necessarily a SharePoint Online community dedicated to SharePoint. We envision that you'd mix and match these community apps in between many different types of communities. So you'd have a community for different departments, or you'd have it for different projects. I mean, that's one of the benefits of that comes with IBM Connections is it's really a free feature that you can have unlimited communities and you can have them all for different purposes and mix and match them, and with the integrations have context that is specifically set up for those different communities. This brings Connections onto steroids in terms of being able to have a single integration that is installed at the organizational level, but for every different community it can have different configurations and context that is specific to the groups of the community.
Great, and I think that actually brings up our last question here, which is, am I able to mix and match these? In the demo, David has shown SharePoint in one and GitHub in another, but can I bring those together in the same community?
Yeah, yes, indeed. In fact, we encourage them.
Okay, great. I think that wraps up our questions. So we'll move into wrap up for the show today. So, coming up, this is a great one. As I mentioned, the one last week was awesome. We have more coming up over the next 4 weeks, every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Look for great things like Box with Office 365, Asana, weather stuff, Google Drive, Dropbox. There's a bunch of different things we're showing on how you can do integrations and different ways to bring those in. There's a registration link on this page, and of course we'll send that to you in our follow-up email as well. So thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate being able to share all this great information with you. There's great ways to get hold of us for both requesting trials, evaluations, any questions. As David mentioned, if you want us to meet with your team and explain how these work, talk about security, things like that, we can do that as well. So we're really happy everybody was able to join, and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. And with that, we'll conclude the webinar.